Welcome back, Junkies on 106.7 The Fan. We've been telling our listeners all morning, but if you're just tuning in, we do have a coffin which will join us in the studio on Friday as we begin to bury RG3. Just like he is digging his own grave, we're actually going to have a little ceremony, and we invite you listeners to join us 9 o'clock on Friday, and we're going to have the nails, and you can start hammering away because RG3 is doing a pretty good job himself. Digging his own grave. So the picture of the coffin, I just saw it. Drab put the picture up on the Junkies Facebook page. Check it out on the Junkies Facebook page. It is an old, arctic-looking coffin. But I guess what would you expect?
It's fine. For the purposes we're using it for, it's perfect.
I think EB said it's one of those coffins you would see in like Saudi Arabia.
Well, like if there was like a mass execution.
If there was a car bomb in like Tel
Like
Aviv.
200 people.
Yeah.
They just put them in one of these.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible.
Like the ones that get carried down the streets by
Yes.
a big
Halloween
throng of people.
prop.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, it's perfect.
Okay.
We're not
Are
complaining.
people still bitter about it?
No.
No, there's some people.
There's always haters.
What are you going to do?
Whatever.
It's just a bit. It's not serious.
We did a funeral last year with a lobster inside.
Don't take us seriously. That's the point.
We got to kill 20 hours every week, okay? This will kill an hour.
How about
Can everybody
this?
just relax?
And I think we all agree with this. We'd much rather have a 2012 situation happen again.
Absolutely.
Where RG3, imagine if RG3 came back in there before the bye week.
That's a mirage, JP.
And against Minnesota, instead of throwing that first half interception, which changed the momentum of the game, imagine if he led them on another touchdown drive there and they romped in that game and they won big. And then imagine if Tampa Bay, which should have been served up on a platter, the 31st ranked defense, a team that was giving up 31 points a game. Imagine if he threw for 325 yards.
Why don't we just imagine we all hit the Powerball
Why
too while we're at
why
it?
don't you imagine the world without war? Imagine
John Lennon over there.
Imagine the world without cancer
I'm just saying.
or gun violence.
It would have been much better.
Dude, it's never going to happen.
Probably not with this guy.
All right, but let's talk to our next guest. We've got the awesome Dianna Russini from Channel 4.
She basically
and
lives out at Redskins
She
Park.
does.
she's out there with all the beat guys. No, there isn't a television reporter that I know of in this area that works the beat like
Could she
Dianna
be more
Russini.
connected?
She's in there, man.
Nobody's more connected than her.
I'd tell her you should just chill. I don't know why you go over there all the time. What do you care? Just do what the hell he did. He didn't do anything.
Killing Ellie.
Hell, he would just show up.
Yeah, now he's got a sweet gig on NFL Network.
You're working too hard.
Please, can we stay with this Imagine If game and just keep talking about that Imagine If?
You like that?
I mean, if you want to live in JP's utopian world, sure, go right ahead.
Great, yeah.
Well, yeah. Imagine if RG3 had led them to 2 wins.
All right, here's John Lennon. Right here.
I'd like to imagine the Raiders are 10-0, but you know
Cakes.
what? They're 0-10.
You'd be 5-5. Imagine if you're 5-5, the Redskins fans with RG3 leading them to 2 wins. All of a sudden, they'd be talking about 2012 all over again.
Okay.
Diana,
Instead, you had to listen to Jay Gruden. What was it like being in that press conference listening to Jay hammer as quarterback?
Well, it was Monday morning. It was dreary yesterday. It was definitely not your typical day at Redskins Park because you knew something was brewing, just based on already what was going on Twitter. And whenever you drive out there, you have these thoughts in your mind. You know what kind of day it's going to be. It's going to be either explosive or kind of casual. And I don't know. I had a weird feeling yesterday, and I didn't think it would turn out to be what it was. I thought it would be something where the media was just asking a lot of questions about the Robert Griffin III statements and the Deshaun Instagramming and that whole bit. But Jay really took the lead in terms of the tone yesterday. Obviously, extremely frustrated in not just the off the field issues with Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff, but the bigger picture and the bigger problem, which is the awful play of every single person on that team on Sunday.
Well, do you think we know that when Jay gets behind a microphone, he's extremely candid? And maybe this is just part of being a rookie head coach and being in a big market like this, and he still hasn't quite gotten it. Or maybe it's calculated. What is your guess?
It's not calculated. I talked to him last week. We did a one-on-one interview with him, and that was one of my questions. I said, do you ever get up there and look at all the people and say something and maybe see our facial reactions and think, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have said that? And he said, yeah, I'd say it's picked up over the last few weeks. I've definitely been saying things. My family, I think people in the organization have definitely swung by my office or, shot me a text message like, maybe I shouldn't be saying that. And he actually said it. He admitted, he said, I'm learning. I'm learning what I should be saying, what I shouldn't. And it did come off a bit naive to me, to be honest. I think he is learning on the job, but at the same time, there's definitely an honesty and unfiltered voice at that podium every single week that I know I appreciate. I think Redskins fans appreciate it because we're really able to see what's going on inside and, in terms of what's going on behind the walls, at least getting a little snippet of what's going on. And we asked him, in fact, yesterday, this is a great example. Yesterday, once that press conference wrapped, and we always kind of talked to him a little bit afterwards and tried to see if we can get one or two more nuggets from him off the record, and we said, everything you say up here, have you said it already to to the team, or will you say it later? And he said, everything I say to you, I've already said to them, which is completely different than what Shanahan did.
So you don't think he was sending a message to Robert by sort of publicly outing and saying, listen, Robert, it's a way of saying, look, I'm not going to baby this kid. And Robert needs to know this. If people ask me about his performance, I'm going to spell it out like I would any other player.
No, I don't think it's even that complex. I think it's as simple as
answering the question.
I'm answering the question. You're asking me, what did I think about Robert Griffin III's performance yesterday? And I'm going to tell you what I'll tell him. I'm going to tell you what I'll tell my older brother. I'm going to tell you what I tell my kid. He's not good. And I think for people in Washington, it is so alarming and jaw-dropping almost the way we all felt yesterday after we watched that. And I know some of you listened to it later because we're not used to it. We're used to the Shanahan way of things. So I think that's what sort of catches everybody off guard. And like you just mentioned, it is very unlike a head coach to go at your franchise guy as hard as Jay did yesterday.
I threw this out there yesterday, Dianna, and obviously Jay doesn't like Robert. I'm not saying doesn't like him as a person, doesn't like him as a player. But one guy who does like Robert is the owner. And he's went to bat for Robert for the last 3 years. And, we even heard rumors that, the coaches were pressured into playing him early in the Minnesota game, yada, yada, yada. But if Jay really wants to play Colt or if he wants to play Kirk, does he have the autonomy to do that? Or is there too much pressure based on the investment to play Robert for these last 6?
I think it's the latter. I think Jay Gruden was brought in here to develop Robert Griffin III, and he needs to show that he can, try to do this with him, kind of take what's been put in front of him and try to develop this quarterback. And that's why, a lot of people are calling for Colt, calling for Kirk. I have a really hard time seeing that happen. I think that the chances of Robert getting hurt are a lot greater to seeing, in terms of seeing him on the bench before we see him get benched. I think this organization is at least on the same page on one thing, and that's Robert has to be on the field. They have to see if he can do this. They have to see if he can play. And I do feel that Jay Gruden came into this knowing he owes it to the people, the hundreds involved that made that decision in the end, that gave up those draft picks, and the way that this organization has shaped itself around number 10 to at least try to develop him, to at least give him that shot so they can walk away and there could be closure.
The tough thing is, beyond the offensive issues and the quarterback issues, the defense hasn't looked good since the Dallas game. Talk about what Jay Gruden was saying about some of the missed assignments and how the defense has been playing subpar.
Yeah, no, he has no qualms about mentioning that. I know. They're on pace right now. The defense has 3 interceptions this season. They're on pace for tying a franchise record or even beating it if they continue here of the least amount of interceptions by a defense. Hazard has to hear that stat and know this isn't good. And it's pretty obvious through the press conferences that, we all know Jay's an offensive-minded guy. He was brought in for that. So he's given the keys to Haslett to do all of this. So as much as Jay's up there answering questions about defense, I don't really know how much he's in on all of it. I don't know how much he has to say on what's going on. So this is Hazlitt's boat, and he's driving it, and we're to see if he can turn it around.
Just a bunch of guys driving their own boats into icebergs.
Hey, Dianna, did you ever contact Deshaun to get clarification on what he Instagrammed?
I did. Yesterday, I did early in the morning. I reached out, and he really wanted nothing to do with clearing up anything that was mentioned. Basically, saying, I'm saying what I'm saying. I don't need to explain it to anybody.
So what does that tell you?
I'm not going to take that as anything, but he didn't really want the media involved in what he was posting. I still don't really get why people
That's naive.
that have 900,000 followers post things and then wonder why people question what they're posting.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's insane.
It really, that yesterday, and I was joking about it on social media. I really felt like I was having a nervous breakdown yesterday during my sportscast because I was literally saying on television as a sports anchor on Channel 4, RG3 tweeted, then Deshaun Jackson Facebooked, then Jay Gruden yelled at everybody, then RG3 tweeted. Like, I can't believe that's what we're talking about.
I know.
Those guys need to ditch their social media for the sound of it.
Do you think that Robert and Deshaun get along?
I do. I don't think they're best friends. They're not hanging out at Subway together getting sandwiches, but I think that Deshaun is willing to sort of buy in the way everyone else is. The locker room environment on Wednesday to me is going to be the most the biggest test in a way to see what this team is and see where they're at right now. Because after all this, and a feeling that guys in there know that Robert can't do it right now. So how are they supposed to come together and go out to California and beat the 49ers?
Mm-hmm. Well, they're not.
You know what, guys? This is what's crazy.
This is the kind of game that they would pull off, right?
This is the kind of game they either get spanked by 40 or they go out and upset a team that actually isn't even that good. The 49ers have been pretty inconsistent this season, and I know they're not taking this team lightly in terms of the Redskins. They believe, just from talking to the people out there, they believe that the Redskins are actually better than the Giants. So they're definitely not going to miss out on doing the work that they need to do to get ready for Sunday. But I still think that there's still something to be said. There's still something that could happen. Do I think it's going to be magic? Do I think Robert's going to go out there and throw for 8 touchdowns? No, but maybe the San Francisco 49ers will beat themselves.
Dianna, real quick, and then we'll let you go. We went around the room, and we said 2 years from now. We did a McLaughlin-style question thing. We went around the room, and no explanation. Just 2 years from now, is Robert Griffin the starting quarterback here? JP said 0%. Jason said 0%. Cakes said 0%. I gave it a 20% chance. 2 years from now, is Robert Griffin III the starting quarterback of the Washington Redskins?
15%.
15. All right. Thank you, Dianna. Great stuff. Thank you.
Love talking to you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Okay,
Dianna.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. 15%.
All right, some people are abandoning their Redskins fandom. Tony Perkins, our buddy from Fox 5, he's going to join us coming up at 8:40.
Can't wait to
He
talk
has
to him.
bailed on the Redskins officially. So we'll talk to him coming up at 8:40 on The Fan.